The prison break happened Monday as several cities in Indonesia's easternmost territory, where an insurgency against Jakarta's rule has simmered for decades, saw rioting and protests triggered by the detention of dozens of Papuan students. About half of a 500-inmate prison in Sorong City fled their cells when the prison was set ablaze by angry protesters Monday, according to authorities. Local Justice Ministry spokeswoman Marlian Landes said 258 inmates escaped and only 5 of them had returned by this morning. She added several prison employees were injured by rock-throwing prisoners as they tried to stop the escape. Sorong, a city of some 220,000 people, was hit by mass protest on Monday, while in Manokwari, the capital of West Papua province, chaos broke out with the local parliament building torched and nearly reduced to ashes. While calm has mostly returned to the region, some 500 people rallied again in Sorong on Tuesday as police in riot gear fired tear gas and water cannons to disperse the crowds. This week's demonstrations were triggered by reports that authorities tear-gassed and detained some 43 Papuan university students in the Southeast Asian nation's second biggest city, Surabaya, on Saturday, Indonesia's Independence Day. The White House on Tuesday accused China of bullying tactics in the increasingly tense waters of the South China Sea and said it would resist Beijing on the dispute. President Donald Trump's National Security Advisor John Bolton tweeted, "China's recent escalation of efforts to intimidate others out of the developing resources in the South China Sea is disturbing," adding the United States stands firmly with those who oppose coercive behavior and bullying tactics which threaten regional peace and security. China has been accused of deploying warships, arming island outposts, and ramming fishing vessels in the resource-rich sea, also contested by Brunei, Malaysia, the Philippines, and Vietnam. Washington has repeatedly criticized China's attempts to exert growing dominance in the disputed waters. However, Bolton's latest broadside comes as the two economic superpower face off in a damaging trade war. President Duterte issued a stern warning to foreign vessels passing through Philippine waters without clearance from the government, saying the Philippines could go as far as enforcing the order in an unfriendly manner. Presidential spokesman and Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Salvador Panelo said all foreign vessels must first get the clearance from the proper government authority before their actual passage. In a statement, Panelo said, to avoid misunderstanding in the future, the President is putting on notice that beginning today or Tuesday, all foreign vessels passing the territorial waters must notify and get clearance from the proper government authority well in advance of the actual passage. Either they get a compliance in a friendly manner or they enforce it in an unfriendly manner. This comes after a Chinese Coast Guard vessel was spotted by the military in Ayungin Shoal, which is within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. Foreign Affairs Secretary Teodoro Locsin Jr. also said that he has also ordered the Department of Foreign Affairs to lodge a diplomatic protest over the intrusion of Chinese warships in the country's waters. Appearing before the Senate Foreign Relations panel on Monday, he said the government will keep lodging protests as often as intrusions are made. Based on Lorenzana's report, the Chinese warships passed through Philippine territory at Cebutu Strait in Tawi-Tawi last August and twice more in July, at all times without giving prior notice to Philippine authorities.
most important.
Welcome back. President Rodrigo R. Duterte joined Filipinos in commemorating the 36th death anniversary of Senator Benigno Ninoy Aquino Jr., expressing hope that the occasion reminds them to safeguard freedom that was once lost under the rule of former President Ferdinand Marcos. In his message, Duterte cited Aquino's important role in restoring democracy in the country more than 3 decades ago. He said his sacrifice altered the course of the nation's history and still continues to ignite the spirit of heroism among the people. He added, "May this auspicious occasion remind the people of what was lost so that the people may remain committed to the solemn duty to safeguard the freedoms that they now enjoy." Duterte also expressed hope that government workers would be inspired by the late senator to extend public service the same way he did. The president meanwhile acknowledged that more needs to be done to solve the country's social ills, which remain a problem even after Aquino's death. Duterte said despite the gains in these past 3 years, there is still a lot that needs to be done to completely eradicate the poverty, corruption, and injustice that had plagued the nation even during Ninoy's time. He added, "Let his example guide as they strive to uplift and protect the most vulnerable in the society and ensure that all Filipinos will enjoy the blessings of freedom, democracy, and rule of law." Duterte asked Filipinos to have a meaningful celebration. Under Republic Act 9256, August 21 of every year is declared as Ninoy Aquino Day, a non-working holiday to commemorate his death. Aquino's death fueled protest which peaked during the EDSA People Power Revolution and succeeded in ending the Marcos regime. A strong Thai baht and a slowdown in arrivals from China are battering the kingdom's money-making tourism machine, even as the country hopes to welcome a record 40 million visitors by the end of the year. Most travelers to Thailand are from China and other countries in the region, but millions also come from Europe and the U.S., and currency conversion rates impact decisions when budgeting for trips. Richard Parakop Goso, president of the Association of Thai Travels Agents, said it absolutely has an effect. When compared to other Asian country currencies, they would rather go to Vietnam, Malaysia, Singapore, or Indonesia. Before the baht strengthened, Chinese visits were already flagging after a boating disaster in Phuket last year killed dozens of mainland tourists. Visits from China fell almost 5% in the first 6 months of the year compared to the same period in 2018, according to official statistics. Last year, total visits from all countries rose more than 7.5% compared to 2017. However, after the first half of this year, the increase was only climbing towards 1.5%. Tourism and currency woes weighed on economic growth, which slid to 2.3% in the second quarter this year, the lowest in almost 5 years. U.S.-China trade tensions have roiled markets, but Thailand has been less impacted than other countries in the region that have more exposure to global supply chains. Malacanang has expressed hope that there would be no delay in the passage of the proposed 4.1 trillion peso national budget for next year.
Yeah, actually, we do not have any guarantee. That depends on the members of Congress, because they are the ones who deliberate on the budget.
The Department of Budget and Management submitted the proposed 2020 national budget to the House of Representatives on Tuesday morning, while a copy will be turned over to the Senate. Panelo said legislators should consider the needs of the Filipino people.
We can always hope that it will pass on time, because any delay will again affect our economy. And I'm sure the members of Congress know that. Well, we're always hopeful, whether Congress is dominated by allies of the president or not. Because after all, as we said repeatedly, members of Congress should know exactly what is good for the Filipino people, being representatives of them.
Davao City Representative Isidro Ungab, chair of the House Appropriations Committee, said budget deliberations will be done from Monday to Friday starting August 22 to ensure its timely passage. The target date for its passage is on October 4 before the congressional break, Ungab said. The 4.1 trillion peso budget is 12% higher than this year's 3.7 trillion peso expenditure program. Last year, Duterte submitted the proposed 3.7 trillion peso national budget for 2019 to the Congress on the same day he delivered his third State of the Nation address, or SONA, on July 23. However, the lawmakers failed to pass the bill on time due to allegations of last-minute amendments made by the House in the ratified bicameral conference committee report. After ending the budget impasse, Congress transmitted the proposed budget spending to Duterte only last March 26. Duterte finally signed the 2019 budget with several vetoed provisions on April 15.
When visiting the Philippines, Manila or Quezon City is a popular destination. But oftentimes the hustle and bustle of the city can be more stressful on your vacation. So when you feel the need to reconnect to nature or relax again, there's a beautiful oasis just outside of the city called the Garden at Ciudad de Victoria. can see here include hydrangea, snapdragon, and stargazers. They're truly beautiful. The gardens at Ciudad de Victoria are so peaceful, tranquil, and beautiful that it's become a haven for young couples and a very popular venue for engagement photos. The next time you want an escape from the big city, the garden at Ciudad de Victoria is a wonderful place to visit.
Welcome back. Governments around the world are grappling with how to tackle the scourge of single-use plastic. But for the people of Bangun, trash equals cash. Around 2/3 of the town's residents eke out a living sorting and selling discarded plastic bottles, wrappers, and cups back to local companies. And after China blocked imports of foreign garbage earlier this year, the pile is growing.
Makanya harapan kami warga sini, pemerintah itu harus turun tangan. Apa yang kurang betul, mohon dibetulkan, dibina. Jangan sampai sampah ini ditutup. Soalnya apa? Di sini sudah keluar semboyan. Kalau sampah ditutup, tidak cara penghabisan di
Singapore will next week begin a public trial of driverless buses that can be booked with an app, part of ambitions to roll out autonomous vehicles across the city-state.
The autonomous bus that we have built up using our own engine capability in Singapore comprises of a suite of sensors like the laser, the radar, and we fuse the information together, and that allowed the autonomous bus to know where it was, where is it going, and we'll do the planning for the bus. We wanted to be very sure that it is safe for our passengers and the other road users. So therefore we have a safety driver in there to help us to make sure that the vehicle is super safe. He or she doesn't touch the steering wheel. Only when there is an emergency or when there is a need, unforeseen circumstances, that he will take over the vehicle. But based on our testing so far, we have good confidence that the bus will be able to operate autonomously under normal circumstances.
4 driverless minibuses will follow a 5.7-kilometer or 3.5-mile route on the resort island of Sentosa from August 26 to November 15 for the public trial, according to ST Engineering, the Singaporean company behind it. Visitors can use an app on their phones to book the shuttles, which will pick them up and take them to selected destinations, such as a golf club, the beach, and an historic fort. Those without mobile phones can book the shuttles from kiosks along the route, with the free service operating on weekdays for 4 hours. The buses will have a driver to take control if necessary. At a demonstration on Tuesday, 2 of the vehicles negotiated a roundabout with little difficulty and stopped at intersections on a main road to allow cars to pass. They can operate in moderate rain but have to stop during heavy downpours, which are common in the tropical Southeast Asian city. The company aims to roll out the shuttles in a few years' time to other parts of Singapore to transport people from home to subway stations and back, and hoped they can help tackle a shortage of drivers in the city-state. And that is the latest news in the Southeast Asian nations. Stay updated about the ASEAN region. I'm Monica Velasco and I'm 1 with 25.